GM, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Pinto Town Hall. It's a lovely day on the farm. As you can probably hear in my voice, I am a bit hoarse, uh, but that will not stop us. Apologies that we had to move the town hall yesterday at the last minute. Uh, we have tried to keep them at the same time generally and announce them significantly in advance, but yesterday we had some unforeseen circumstances and had to make a last second push. We're going to conduct this one similarly to how we do most of them, where we'll go around hearing from some of the contributors that are here, then open it up for questions, comments, thoughts from the community, and then potentially at the end I'll share a bit of what I'm paying attention to, although because of my hoarse voice, it may be a little shorter this week. All right. So why don't we, as always, like to kick it off? Rio, how are you doing, sir?
Doing good, doing good. This week, we're making very good progress on the convert up bonus. Our date, is locked in for Monday. And, it's only because, contributors are traveling during the weekend. So, otherwise, we are almost ready to go. The front end has a little bit of bugs we're trying to do and, fix. And then there's one last QC round. But, I'm confident that we'll shoot for a Monday release. Uh, so that chapter is ending on my end. The next thing I want to work on is, two upgrades that can be added in the same PI, which is one is the soul referral that we talked about a couple weeks ago, and the other is a migration implementation where we migrate our CVE liquidity to Wistif to increase the censorship resistance of our system. Both doesn't seem to be too heavy on the solidity front, so I think we can get those out relatively soon.
Great. What an exciting milestone. Um, Anything else to talk about? What's going on your end?
Nothing else to report, but yeah, very excited to get this thing going.
Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Uh, why don't we kick it over to Pinto Pirate? How are things over on the high seas?
Hello, doing well. Similar to Free Joe, we've been finishing up the tractor stuff, and we're very excited to see it in action. On my end, I did spend a little bit of time working on some general efficiency improvements to the tractor processes that I'm working on, and those will go out with this upgrade as well. So that will hopefully just lower like the RPC costs a little bit. Beyond that, this week I spent some time. I added some more data to the subgraphs. Added some data for the blight factor and the crop ratio, which surprisingly we didn't have on there already. At least at least in a way that makes it so we can like put a chart on the UI. So that'll be coming eventually to the UI, and now I'm working on some general improvements to some of the data that we're processing for the protocol inflows and outflows. That's like the one that shows up on the large chart where you can kind of select a bunch of things to show at the same time. So that's in progress. And then there's another issue that's outstanding that I know we had talked about previously, but with there's actually an Alchemy outage right now that's affecting the Discord bots that send like the messages about like the farm activity, and that's an issue with specifically with the ETH get logs filter method. The regular log method is working, but this is the one that the bots are using, and so it looks like it fixed itself a little bit last night, and then it kind of like the issue kind of came back, and so I mean there's not really much that I can do or that we can do unless we like switch to use a different method, which would be like, a pretty big rewrite of the system at this point. So yeah, it kind of just is what it is. It's very unfortunate. But no, nothing to update there, unfortunately.
And is there any indicator of like what's causing this, or it's quite a long outage, it seems.
I don't know what the catalyst of it was. I mean, all I can confirm is that this is not in our system.
Wow, that's crazy. Have they given
Yeah.
any guidance when they expect to patch it?
Not that I'm aware of. I submitted a ticket to them about it. But I haven't seen anything like on their status page, like even acknowledging the issue.
Weird. Do we have an active chat with them?
There's just a ticket I submitted a couple days ago, but I don't know if I'd call it an active chat. In the past, I've gotten quick responses from them, so I'm surprised I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, weird. Freya, do you know if we have an old chat with them, maybe even from the Beanstalk days on Telegram or something? We can try to hit them up and let them know this is a big issue.
We have a chat with them. I'll add Pinto Pirate and get that going.
Yeah, let's harass them. This sucks. It is too long. Too long. And it's crazy that it's not on their official status board, like weird stuff. All right, thanks, Freya, and thank you, Pinto Pirate. Sounds like there's a lot going on your end at the moment, Pirate. Anything else you want to add?
Always lots of work to be done on the farm. No, nothing else to add.
Nice. All right. To wrap up the convert upgrade, Burr. How we doing, sir? We can't hear you if you're talking, sir. Still can't hear you, sir. All right, as we wait for Burr, Burr's back. Burr, you want to try again?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. So as Freehill mentioned, the estimated launch date is Monday, and I have just been trying to go in and clean up a bunch of stuff on the front end, making sure everything is good. I work closely with Pinto Pirate to get the API integrated, and so now that that has been integrated, I've just been cleaning up a couple things, and hopefully should be ready soon.
Nice. How does it feel to be almost at the finish line, sir?
Feels pretty good. I mean, I think this was a slightly longer or larger project than I had anticipated. Finally, I'm excited to get this out, and then we can start working on some new things. But it'll be really cool to see how the convert up order book will affect the system. I'm actually looking forward to that a lot.
Yeah, me too. Quite interesting. Also, to have like a multi-dimensional order book. I don't know how many of those really exist in DeFi these days. Obviously, you have like some these protocols, but yeah, very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Um, all right. I don't know if Pintocito is his mic is working this week. Last week we obviously had those mic-
Coach.
Welcome, sir. Welcome. How we doing?
What's up, guys? How are you?
We're hanging loose, as they say.
Great to hear it. On my end, very exciting week because we published the new revamped docs. So that was quite a long time coming, and quite proud of the level of rigor that we were able to explain the system at in a way that I think will give people a better sense about it. So have been implementing QC on that since we first quietly went live with it at the end of the weekend. There were some issues with links and stuff that we had imported over from the old docs. So that's very exciting. And that was my main focus over the last week. So going forward, pivoting to a couple, we just submitted an application for a base grant, which we'll be curious to hear about, and looking at a couple other integrations or opportunities to get Pinto out there in the world.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. On my end, yeah, it was great to see those docs go out. Pintacito and myself put a ton of effort into them, and hopefully it makes all the work that's gone in over the past 5 years comprehensive and intelligible to people. To date, up until the publishing, I should say, we never really had any docs that made it such that people could understand why things were working the way they did. It was more like, here's what's happening, and then left it for people to figure it out for themselves why things were working the way they did. So, quite proud and excited about this, and feel like it marks a new chapter in how we present ourselves to the community at large. So, cool stuff. Otherwise, yeah, I filmed a fun video for the base batches thing, and have been doing a little work on the convert order book copy. But things are in a good spot. So now, hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to start doing this larger UI overhaul, which I've talked about, where the UX consists of the documentation and the UI. So that's up next. All right. So that's the update from the contributors that are here. Why don't we open up the floor to see if anyone has any questions, comments, thoughts, etc.? Dixie, how are you? No need to be shy, but it seems like we have a new farmer here with some big crops. All right. Well, if there's nothing that people want to bring up at the moment, I'll talk. I'll keep it brief because as much as I love a 40-minute window for me to talk about what's going on in the system, I really shouldn't use my voice too much at the moment. The one thing that I saw on Twitter this morning is that this guy Dankrad Feist, who's really been a leader in Ethereum in the research community for quite a long time, just left and is now working on Tempo, which is a payments focused L1. And I just got such a kick out of it. Like the guy who's, I just heard him on a podcast on the roll up talking about the ideal of having the Ethereum client be able to validate on a Raspberry Pi Pico, which is it's like 7 times cheaper than a Raspberry Pi. So more validators, more decentralization. And, we've been here in our community shouting from the rooftops like, hey, you can make your network as decentralized as you want. But ultimately, if the the media of exchange and unit of account that's dominating the network is centralized in nature, then technically you may be decentralized, but economically you're not. And I just got such a kick out of this guy. I'm sure he got paid a ton of money to go work on a centralized stablecoin focused blockchain. And I'm sure he's going to do the same thing there. God bless him. Make the network as performant and distributed as possible. And it's still going to be centralized. And it's like, what are we doing here? So I don't know. That was some news today that I felt like was particularly relevant to us. Where it's like, yeah, these guys, we knew who they were. They are who we thought they were, super smart, adding a lot of technical value, but don't, for whatever reason, don't get the economic censorship element. And yeah, it's just, I got quite a kick out of that this morning. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty funny and noteworthy, honestly. And no knock against Tempo. I'm sure they're gonna do cool stuff. They claim that they want to lower the finality time, which is important for payments, which I agree. And at the same time, what are we doing here? So what are we doing here? The real fun thing would be if we did like a Pinto on Tempo. Not saying that in a serious way per se, but wonder what they would say about that being a payments chain. Technically, they're not saying it's like a stable coin chain, but it's like Plasma, Arc, Tempo. Maybe Tempo is like the most neutral one. So maybe one day we do want to get Pinto on there. All right. Otherwise, the protocol, I think, held up quite well in the volatility last week. Last Friday was one of the most interesting days in the crypto market in the past year plus, where there was like 20 billion, I heard up to 40 billion of liquidations, and I just got a notification right on time that Tempo just raised a $500 million round. So how much does it cost to post Dankbrad Feist? I don't know. It's a lot of zeros, I think. Very interesting. Sorry to digress, but I thought that was so relevant given what we were just talking about. So what happened with the crash, we saw like one of the more popular yield generating stablecoin models out there right now is Athena, where basically the model works like you deposit spot, ETH, and Bitcoin now, I believe. And I'm using the they pejoratively here, go and hedge on various exchanges using perps. And the trade looks something like they basically collect the funding rate, which when there's a bull market, the funding rates to be short perps are typically positive. And so you have basically you're holding the spot, it's hedged, and you're getting paid some yield to hedge. And it's interesting, but it's managed by a centralized group that's basically market making and trying to make sure they're delta neutral. I guess market making is the wrong way to say it, but actively managing the portfolio. And so, anyways, on Binance, they got liquidated, and I guess I should say like there was a liquidations of accounts that were using USDE as margin. And it seems like on Binance there was an Oracle issue because they're paying people back. But USDE, which is supposed to be hedged, and I've had quite a number of conversations with investors into USDE, or I guess investors into Athena, I should say, the company operating it, and related people. They're just managing the position actively. And so while it seems like they ultimately managed it well, and prices dip during a crash like this, actually allows them to sort of hedge out and close certain positions in a way where they make more money, which is interesting. But Mod323, who's one of our most insightful farmers here and long-standing farmers, we were chatting, and he mentioned to me that they basically have 66 million, according to their public information, of over collateralization, but on like 10 billion of assets. And the reason why it's not more over collateralized is because they're paying out yield. And basically this got us thinking about, even though the liquidations just happened on Binance and it didn't happen elsewhere, what would happen. There's like 2 billion of outstanding USDE used as collateral on Aave. What would happen if there was a crash in USDE and there was a big liquidation? How would that work? And perhaps more interestingly, how would it work if we enter really an extended bear market where the funding rates invert? I just really interesting to see how sort of the leading, you can't call it a decentralized stablecoin at all, both because it's managed in a centralized fashion and all the value is really held on centralized exchanges to do the hedging and posting the collateral. It's just really interesting to see how sort of the leading stablecoin model worked and compare it with Pinto. So on the one hand, you could say like Pinto, the price did go down, low double digits percent, and is now sort of hanging out in the 70s. But on the other hand, on at least one exchange, there was a major depeg in the leading. It's even a collateralized model. So I'm quite pleased with how the model performed. Obviously, it'll be more interesting to see how this thing does when it scales, when there's more active participants. But this is a bit of a long segue to say that this convert order book going live is really exciting to me. The current friction is that we have people, and it's unclear whether it's just that the seeds aren't enough of an incentive such that the stock will be, or if it's just a friction thing where people are checking regularly and actively managing and optimizing around seeds isn't something people really want to do actively. It's unclear what the cause is for people not to participate in converts. And something Ford Pinto raised a couple weeks ago was maybe people just aren't paying attention because the incentives in the seeds are already pretty high. And so to me, Tractor is a response to that. And this convert order book for Tractor is going to be an active response to that, where now you can set it and forget it and still have the system maintain itself basically on your behalf. Now, there is it's going to be very interesting to see how it's out. So, hopefully next week I'll have my voice back and can talk more about the implications and go a bit of a more detailed analysis of the convert bonus once it goes live. But for now, I'm gonna open up the floor. I see a couple more farmers joined. See if there's anything on their mind they wanted to bring up or chat about. Again, my voice is a little hoarse, so not gonna not gonna do a 45-minute rant here. Although there's a couple more things to talk about, but maybe we'll have to save them for next week. All right, the floor is open. Robin Lama, how are you doing, sir? No need to unmute if it's inconvenient. Always love hearing from you, though. All right, leaving the floor open for another minute here. If anyone has anything else they want to talk about. Going once. Going twice. All right, folks. I'm sorry to cut this a little short, but I really do want to try to conserve my voice. And we will talk. We'll talk next week. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Bye.
You guys.